Good morning, everyone. Now, I want you to know that any one of you could be a power talker. And I thought I might have a story to tell. And so a couple weeks ago, I let the office know I'd like to be thinking it would show up in my calendar in March or April. And it showed up this week. And so it is actually illustrative of my experience here at CSL, a transformation from really carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders to being able to rest in God. Because I said yes, even though I didn't have any time to prepare and didn't even really want to do it. I mean, let's be totally honest. And so I've been praying about it. And in fact, at 8 o'clock this morning, I was sitting at my computer writing my talk, which I discarded before the first service and told another story. First service is changing again, because I really am allowing the Spirit that moves me here to speak to you today. I came here 7 years ago in quite a bit of stress in my family. We had adopted kids from foster care years earlier, and the trauma of that early childhood abuse and neglect had caused me to have the most volatile, irritable daughter I could imagine in her middle adolescence. And we were locked in conflict all the time, and I came here to become more Buddha-like. And really, it worked almost immediately, more peace in my heart, just from showing up at Sunday services, even though it took many, many years before all of that pain began to dissipate and we were able to resolve and transform that relationship. I also had probably the perfect job and said so regularly, but felt that it was all on me. I had to do it all. I couldn't ask for advice. I could not ask others for help. And so I was kind of miserable, not sleeping well, feeling a lot of discomfort. And very, very slowly I leaned in here a little bit and took classes. I was blessed very early in my work here in this church to be asked to be a greeter. And so some of you know me from that role. I stand at the north door a couple days a month, just loving people. And that practice of being able to bless you and be blessed every week began to bleed into my weekdays, which is, of course, what we want. Because what I say to people who are new here is that this church is about teaching spiritual practices so that you can apply them in your life, so that your life gets better. And I believe, as I know so many of you believe, that not only I can thrive, but this whole world can thrive, and we are just needing to reveal that to one another. So I took classes. I eventually qualified to be an inward journey. And some people have talked about that up here, and you get a sense sometimes that that's a scary thing, and I will tell you my experience was not that way. There was no lightning and fire in my life when I was in inward journey, but more Kathy Ann sharing suggestions to me that, Janice, maybe your good is to be satisfied. Maybe your core denial, the thing that is going wrong in your life, is that you think there is something wrong with you. And so I was able to practice using those ideas, in particular the denial, this idea that there was something wrong with me, something wrong with you, something wrong with the conditions in our lives that was causing the world not to work the way I wanted it to, and for me not to be very effective and not very happy. And so today, there's something wrong here. It does show up from time to time, but I recognize it, whereas I didn't. It drove me for 55 years without me knowing what it was. And today I can see it and laugh at it and live life more fully. And I want to talk a little bit about my experience in Better Business Breakfast, because it's the first place I went to experience turning skills, spiritual skills, into practice. And the first year I work in a nonprofit organization, and we raise money charitably to do some very important work in the community. And my first year's prayer, and I revise this prayer every month, was for $1 million new for our organization. It's a 7-figure gift. And every month it didn't come. And again, because I hadn't been through inward journey yet, I thought there was something wrong, something going wrong. But the beauty of the business practice, that Sangha praying for me every month, and of Reverend Sharon teaching me every month a little more about recognizing the signs of goodness, those olive branches that are showing up in the dove's beak show up in our lives too, and I was not noticing them. So while I didn't get a 7-figure gift that year, by the end of the year, we were $1 million above the year before in hundreds of small gifts. Six years later, we've set a really ambitious, crazy, wonderful goal in the world, and our donors are responding so powerfully, and we've secured 3 gifts in that 7-figure range this year. Truly a miracle. So I want to say a word more about leaning in, because this work, this getting to be a fully alive human being in spirit, is an inside job, but it happens in community. And for me, it happens in this community. It happens in sharing consciousness with you every Sunday, sometimes on Wednesdays. It happens through volunteer service as a greeter. It happened when Reverend Kathy Ann asked me to co-chair the stewardship campaign, and everything in my being screamed, "Don't do that. You don't have enough time. There's no way you can possibly do it successfully." And I learned the lesson that is now really driving my work life, because we made a very detailed plan, we got it approved, we set up timelines, and just about nothing worked quite the way we expected it would work. And I learned to do what is mine to do, and otherwise to just rest in God. That if I showed up in that way, things would work out, and we met our goal last year without stress on my part. It was such a blessing. So I have transformed my work life now. I have an entirely different job than I had a year ago while working in the same organization. I am doing what is mine to do. I am staying out of everyone else's business. Any of you have micromanaging bosses? I was one of those people. And we're having tremendous success in the service with youth, who we are working to transform in partnership, in the response from community, and it is truly a blessing. I am blessed to be in this community and to be a part of this work with you, and I want to thank you for supporting me with your consciousness, some of you with your deep friendship, and thank you for being a part of the Center for Spiritual Living.